This is Fluent English Journey Podcast.
From Speak English with Nora. Welcome back, English learners. I'm Nora, and I've got something fun to discuss with you today.
And I'm Ethan. Today we're diving into one of those classic debates that never gets old. Is it better to live in the city or the countryside?
Oh, this is such a fascinating topic. I mean, where you live really shapes your entire lifestyle, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think most people have pretty strong opinions about this. You know, I've lived in both environments, and they're like completely different worlds.
Same here. And what's interesting is that our preferences often change as we get older. When I was in my 20s, I was all about city life. The energy, the opportunities, the excitement.
The hustle and bustle, right? There's something addictive about that fast-paced urban rhythm. You wake up and immediately feel like you're part of something bigger.
Exactly. The hustle and bustle. That's such a perfect expression for city life. But let's break this down properly. What do you think are the biggest advantages of city living?
Well, convenience is huge. I mean, everything is at your fingertips. Need groceries at 2 a.m.? There's a store open. Want to try authentic Thai food, then grab Italian gelato, then catch a movie? All within walking distance.
And the career opportunities? Cities are where industries cluster together. If you're ambitious and want to climb the corporate ladder, the city is often where you need to be.
That's true. There's also the cultural diversity. In cities, you're exposed to so many different cultures, languages, foods, perspectives. It really broadens your worldview.
Plus, public transportation makes life easier. No need to own a car, worry about parking, or deal with maintenance costs. You just hop on the subway or bus.
And let's talk about the networking opportunities. In cities, you're constantly meeting new people at work, at events, even just grabbing coffee. These connections can lead to amazing opportunities you'd never have in a small town.
Oh, and the entertainment options. World-class museums, theaters, concerts, festivals. There's always something happening, always something new to discover.
Plus, cities tend to be more progressive and open-minded, don't you think? There's usually more acceptance of different lifestyles, beliefs, and choices.
That's a really good point. Cities often feel like melting pots where you can truly be yourself without judgment. And if you're looking for specialized services, whether it's a particular type of doctor, a unique hobby group, or niche shopping, you're much more likely to find it in a city.
But let's be honest, city life isn't all sunshine and roses. What about the downsides?
Where do I even start? The cost of living can be absolutely crushing. Rent alone can eat up half your salary, and that's for a tiny apartment.
And the stress levels, the constant noise, the crowds, the traffic. Sometimes you feel like you can never truly relax or find peace.
The pace of life can be overwhelming too. Everyone's always rushing somewhere, always busy, always connected to their phones. It's hard to slow down and just breathe.
The hustle and bustle, right? There's something addictive about that fast-paced urban rhythm. You wake up and immediately feel like you're part of something bigger.
That's so true. I remember when I first moved to New York, I felt more isolated than I ever had in my small hometown. There's something about being anonymous in a crowd that can be really depressing.
Yeah, and the competition. Everyone's trying to outdo each other. Better job, nicer apartment, trendier lifestyle. It can turn into this exhausting rat race where you never feel good enough.
And don't get me started on the environmental impact. All that pollution, the lack of green spaces, the concrete everywhere. Sometimes you forget what fresh air actually smells like.
Plus the commute. Spending 2 hours a day on crowded trains or stuck in traffic, that's time you'll never get back.
And safety can be a real concern in some urban areas. higher crime rates, having to be constantly aware of your surroundings, not feeling safe walking alone at night.
There's also something to be said about the superficial nature of some city relationships. People are so busy networking and hustling that genuine, deep friendships can be harder to form.
And let's not forget about the impact on mental health. All that stimulation, competition, and pressure can really take a toll. Anxiety and depression rates tend to be higher in urban areas.
Now, let's flip the coin and talk about countryside living. What draws people to rural life?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is the sense of community. In small towns and rural areas, people actually know their neighbors. There's genuine connection and support.
And the tranquility. Wake up to birdsong instead of car horns. See stars at night instead of city lights. The pace of life is just gentler.
The connection to nature is incredible too. You've got space to have a garden, maybe keep some chickens, go for walks in actual forests instead of concrete jungles. There's something really grounding about that.
Plus, your money goes much further. The same budget that gets you a studio apartment in the city might get you a house with a yard in the countryside.
And there's something to be said for the slower lifestyle. Less pressure to constantly achieve and compete. More time for hobbies, family, personal reflection.
I spent summers at my grandparents' farm as a kid, and I still remember how different time felt there. You'd wake up naturally with the sunrise, work in the garden, have long conversations over dinner. No rush, no schedule.
That sounds wonderful. And what about the air quality? No smog, no exhaust fumes, just clean, fresh air that actually feels good to breathe.
Exactly. And the food. Fresh vegetables from your own garden, farm-to-table dining, knowing where your food actually comes from. There's something really satisfying about that connection to your food source.
And the quiet. True silence is something you just can't find in the city. It's amazing how that silence can help you think more clearly, sleep better, feel more at peace.
Plus, there's usually less traffic, shorter commutes, easier parking. Life just feels more manageable when you're not constantly fighting through crowds and congestion.
And I think there's something to be said for knowing your impact on the community. In small towns, your actions and contributions really matter and are noticed. You're not just another face in the crowd.
Children often thrive in rural environments too. More freedom to explore, safer neighborhoods, stronger school communities where teachers really know each student.
But countryside living has its challenges too, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Career opportunities can be really limited. If you're in a specialized field, you might have to commute long distances or work remotely.
And access to services can be an issue. Need to see a specialist doctor? That might mean a 2-hour drive to the nearest city. Want to try a new movie or try a new restaurant? Good luck with that.
Plus, let's be real, rural communities can sometimes be a bit insular. If you're different or have unconventional ideas, you might feel like an outsider.
And for young people especially, there's might not be much to do. Limited nightlife, fewer social opportunities, less diversity in general. I can see how that might feel suffocating for someone who craves excitement and variety.
I think there's also the practical stuff. Internet might be slower, delivery options limited, fewer job opportunities for your spouse or kids.
And what about emergencies? In the city, help is always nearby. In rural areas, the nearest hospital might be an hour away.
Then let's talk about shopping. Forget about having multiple grocery stores to choose from or specialty shops or same-day delivery. You might have to drive 30 minutes just to get basic supplies.
There's also the social aspect. In small communities, everyone knows everyone's business. That can feel supportive, but it can also feel intrusive if you value privacy.
I think in terms of career advancement, that can be tricky too. Even if you find work in a rural area, the opportunities for promotion or changing jobs might be very limited.
And what happens if the main industry in your area shuts down? Small towns are often economically dependent on just one or two major employers.
I think it's also the cultural diversity. Rural areas can feel quite homogenous, less exposure to different cultures, languages, and ways of thinking.
So here's the million-dollar question. Which is actually better?
You know, I think it really depends on your life stage and personal priorities. When you're young and single, the city offers adventure, networking opportunities, and cultural experiences.
But as you get older, start a family, or just crave more stability, the countryside starts looking more appealing. The idea of raising kids with more space, cleaner air, and stronger community ties.
I think there's also a growing trend of people wanting the best of both worlds. Living in smaller cities or suburban areas that offer some urban conveniences, but with a more relaxed atmosphere.
Or the whole remote work revolution. Now you can live in a beautiful rural area, but still have a city job. Technology is really changing the game.
Exactly. And some people do seasonal living. City apartment for work, country house for weekends and vacations. It's all about finding what works for your unique situation.
I think the key is being honest about what you value most. Are you driven by career ambition? Do you need constant stimulation? Or do you prioritize peace, family time, and connection to nature?
And remember, your preferences might change. What feels perfect at 25 might feel completely wrong at 45. That's totally normal and okay.
I've also noticed that people's financial situations play a huge role. When you're struggling to afford rent in the city, country living starts looking very attractive.
And health considerations too. If you have respiratory issues, allergies, or high stress levels, the cleaner air and slower pace of rural life might be exactly what you need.
There's also the environmental consciousness aspect. Some people choose rural living because they want to reduce their carbon footprint, grow their own food, live more sustainably.
And then there are practical family considerations. Caring for aging parents, being near extended family, wanting kids to grow up near grandparents.
You know what's interesting? I think the pandemic really changed how people view this choice. Suddenly, remote work became possible for so many people, and they started questioning why they were paying city prices for city stress.
That's such a good point. Many people discovered they could maintain their urban salaries while enjoying rural benefits.
What about you listening right now? Do you live in a city or countryside? And more importantly, where would you choose to live if you could live anywhere?
Think about what matters most to you. Career growth, family time, financial security, adventure, peace and quiet. These priorities will guide your choice.
And remember, there's no universally right answer. What's perfect for one person might be terrible for another. The key is being honest about your own needs and values.
One piece of advice, though, if possible, try living in both environments at some point in your life. You might surprise yourself with what you discover about your preferences.
And don't feel pressured to make a permanent decision. Life is long, and you can always move, try new places, experiment with different lifestyles.
Also, consider visiting the type of place you're thinking about moving to at different times of year. That charming rural town might feel very different in the middle of a harsh winter.
And talk to people who've made the move you're considering. City-to-country transplants and country-to-city movers have valuable insights about the reality versus the fantasy.
You know, I think ultimately both choices involve trade-offs. The question is which trade-offs you're willing to make and which benefits matter most to you.
Before we wrap up, let's quickly review some of the key vocabulary we've used today. We talked about hustle and bustle, that busy, energetic atmosphere of city life.
Pace of life, how fast or slow daily life feels, and sense of community, feeling connected to and supported by your neighbors and local area.
We also mentioned climbing the corporate ladder, advancing in your career, and being at your fingertips, easily accessible or available.
And let's not forget about the best of both worlds, getting the advantages of two different situations, Plus, insular, closed off from outside influences or ideas.
We used rat race, that competitive struggle for success that can feel endless. And melting pot, a place where many different cultures mix together.
Don't forget about farm to table, food that comes directly from local farms to your plate. Plus, carbon footprint, the amount of pollution you create through your lifestyle choices.
So, what do you think? Are you team city or countryside? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective and experiences.
And here's a challenge for you. Try to use some of today's vocabulary in your own conversations this week. Practice makes perfect.
Remember, there's a transcript and some practice exercises in the description below to help you review today's vocabulary and expressions.
Thanks for joining us today, English learners. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Until next time, keep exploring the world through English.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos to keep improving your English. See you next time.